I'll say I like those what is this? The Scotland cows? Those guys with the long fur.
We're live while you talk about Scottish cows.
Oh, I'm so sorry. No offense, anybody that's Scottish out there. What had happened was.
And we lost Spackle. She muted herself. And everybody's on screen. Perfect. Yes, everybody's on screen. We're all making noise. Is the desktop audio coming through? Does anybody else want to talk?
Hello.
Hello.
Thank you
very much.
Hello?
Yep, thank you.
Hello?
We're all working. We're all working. Thank you very much, everybody, for coming to the after party. We have Nerthulas with us, the main guest. We have Stephen, who everybody knows. We have Crafty. We have Holy Spackle. We have Skeptic Skeleton. Tonight we have Kendon and Geo as well. So, Nerthulas, how did you find the interview? Was it an asshole? How did it go? How was your...
Oh, I was a little scared, you know, the whole time because I've never done anything like this before. But I guess it went okay. I hope I did all right. I've never done anything like this before. So I was kind of worried about my ability to properly communicate things. And I think I'd rate myself like a 4 out of 10 or so.
Refresh, Holy. That's all you need to do. I have it set on very high speed kick out, so it takes a wee bit. Yes, V, you can join. We need to get the link out. Right, yes, so anybody who wants to jump in first? Skeptic, I think I promised you first go. So, have you any questions that you would like to ask Nerthulas?
It's funny you mentioned that. I actually have a list of questions I'm not gonna ask once.
Thank you, Stephen.
But how do I say this? I guess the biggest thing is I'm confused about this, how you can share your perspective to yourself, because several times during the interview you said this is just my perspective, but you also made the point that we're all one and the same. How do you share perspectives to yourself? There's no such thing as a perspective if everyone has the same perspective, because they're all the same person.
People with DID, do you know how people...
I'm sorry?
Do you know dissociative identity disorder, multiple personality disorder?
I've heard of those.
Right. So to those people, they share a soul, but they have multiple egos, basically. They have multiple personalities, and they don't often, or they don't share memories. So from my perspective, this is essentially the nature of God, is that we don't remember that we're the same person. But the other and the self, the distinction between the other and the self is illusory. It's something we've forgotten and that we'll remember.
Well, the part that I'm confused about is it seems like some of us, or some of us being you, have remembered and the rest of us have forgotten. How is it that some of us can remember and some of us can forget? If
It's
again,
the
we're
way that
all...
someone with DID can have multiple alters, and those alters can sometimes share memories and sometimes not share memories.
So essentially, we're all different personalities residing in the same soul.
Exactly. That's my perspective. Or the same spirit, at least, yeah. I don't know exactly what the difference between spirit and soul is, but yeah.
I think he's catching on. I was just about to ask that question.
So is that your next question answered? Do you have another one?
If that's the case, because everyone knows my go-to question is what is God, but I don't want to go down that rabbit hole.
Yeah.
So
Hang on, one moment.
Oh. Hanging on.
I think there's people walking in and out of his room. I think that's what it happened once before earlier.
Oh, okay.
I don't think he's deliberately trying to just be a troll and go, hold on. Although he might be, but I did hear a door close before.
The DID thing was
Geo.
the first thing I thought when he was actually saying this stuff, and it's like, it's what an idiot thinks DID.
Okay, I'm back. Go ahead.
Back. Okay, go ahead, Skeptic.
Okay, so yeah, just I guess like I said, I'm not going to ask all my questions because I want to give everybody else a turn to speak. But my last question for now is just what is this soul that we all occupy at the same time?
Yeah, the spirit or soul that we all occupy is God's, is God. It is infinite.
So
It is
God
infinity.
is, so
Infinity
God is the
contemplating itself,
soul, and the
chaos
soul is
contemplating
God.
itself, chaos enlightening itself, something like that.
I'm sorry, say that last bit one more time.
Chaos enlightening itself, chaos contemplating itself.
Okay. I'm
No.
because this could lead to a series of questions. So I'm going to contemplate that answer for a moment and give someone else a chance to speak,
Okay.
because otherwise I'll just keep asking, what do you
Yeah,
mean by
I'm
this? And what do
sorry.
you mean by
I'm
this?
really
So,
bad at this.
Uh,
this
No,
is
it's
the first
okay.
time. Okay.
No, that's great. Well, it's the same as Discord, man. Only it's your icon. It's
Yeah.
just a little
It's
bigger
just-
and on YouTube.
I've never really done like a hangout this big where I'm answering questions and stuff, so I'm a little.
Oh,
you know,
well,
but-
don't worry. The first 10, 15 minutes is everybody going to getting it off their chest, and then we'll move into more of an open panel, more of a discussion format. But you are the special guest of tonight, and you did call yourself God. You did say you're the reincarnation of Judas Iscariot. So you can't say that shit and not expect people to ask questions.
Yeah, absolutely.
Holy
Maybe-
Spackle, I know she
Yeah.
reached out and was all.
I was debating about whether to say it at all.
Oh, no,
but you
be
did
honest,
ask
man.
me directly, so
Definitely.
I
be
really
honest.
don't like saying that I am. I prefer to think of myself as the reincarnation of Judas Iscariot, or just as me, as me, and I'm trying to do the best that I can. That's what I really like to think of myself
Honesty
as.
all the time, man. At the end of the day, we all might have a bit of fun here and a jab and stuff, but I hope you feel comfortable enough that we can do this.
Okay.
Be friends, that you can come back again and get involved in other panels, because we'd like your opinion on different topics
Yeah,
as well.
okay,
But
sure.
yeah, we put you in the spot,
Yep.
throw you in the deep end. Holy Spackle, I'm going to let you
Yeah.
throw him in the deep end now.
Sure. So solipsism is pretty impossible to do an external critique on, right? Like it's really difficult. I mean, you can
Mhm.
just go, how can you know, how can
Right.
you know and stuff, and you just kind of get stuck in a loop. So I'm going to grant you solipsism
Okay.
and say this exists, and now I'm going to ask you for how your internal workings of this idea in solipsism are working, and how they make sense and how they don't conflict. So if God is everybody
Mhm.
and everything like
Yeah.
this, maybe even the universe that you're, or the reality that you're experiencing in the
Right.
is God just your mind, or if so, is it I guess I'm going to say, is this extending to objects that you're perceiving? Are you
Yeah.
actually
So
creating
that's one thing
objects with
is
your mind?
that's one thing is from my perspective, everything exists. So when you imagine something, you bring it into reality in some sense, or you at least bring it into potentiality, and then God can bring that into reality, which is you. You can bring that into reality later on if you want to. But from my perspective, the distinction between the body, the thing that I'm seeing out of, like from my perspective, I've got eyes and I'm behind my eyes or whatever. The idea, or it is an illusion that thing is different from the things that you're seeing. From my perspective, that's all one thing. So I am also, this keyboard in front of me, this screen in front of me. I'm not just the thing behind my eyes. I'm also this other stuff. And so when I see your profile picture, I'm also that. And also I know that behind your eyes there is another subjectivity.
Stephen's
that
face is priceless as well. This is
and that, so there's another subjectivity, or another ego, even behind your eyes. So there is things that I can't even comprehend that I am as well.
So
Or I can
okay,
comprehend it, but I can't. I don't have direct experience of it right now.
so in your God model here, it sounds like the demiurge, which is
Yeah.
borrowed from the Gnostic ideas,
Right.
right? Do you consider yourself a Gnostic as well?
Yeah, I do.
Okay, so the demiurge is, well, from what I can best understand, is almost like the worst of humanity. Like all of our
Right.
worst desires are most selfishness.
Yes.
That's what it is.
Those are the.
Um,
Well, the thing is, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh no, but you're in conflict with this deity, which is
Right.
also you.
Yeah.
And you mentioned that somehow your job is either to cast it into hell or you're going to be cast into hell. Who's doing the casting and how is hell constructed?
Well, it's ultimately me who's doing the casting because, it's all me. But hell is constructed by the will to hurt other people. It's constructed by hatred. It is hatred. It is our separation from ourself. It is the desire to hurt. That is what creates hell, from my perspective. One way of thinking of it is, from a more materialist perspective, is maybe saying that simulation theory is true and that the simulation is designed to give us whatever we want. And but there are multiple people in the simulation. And what some people want is for other people to be tortured, and that's why hell exists. And
Do you believe that torture is a good form
higher heaven? We are I'm sorry. Go ahead. Say that again.
No, you said hell's torture.
Yeah.
Do you believe in justice? Do you think that's justice? And how can God separate from itself if God is everything? Because hell would be God, right?
Yeah, right. So hell is separation from God's love. Hell is God torturing himself. What was the question you asked? Sorry, can you repeat that?
Oh, I'm just trying to.
Yourself? Well, it's the same way people can beat themselves up. The same way people can hate themselves is how I can torture myself in that way.
Do you think there's an end game to this torture, that it has
I think,
a fruition that's positive?
Well, I think God is.
If I can say, Nerthulas, address a point. Holy, if you can ask another question, and then I want to give Vile the floor, and then Crafty after that.
Right. So from my perspective, the original thing is chaos, and from chaos is neutral, right? Chaos is doing things in every direction, ignorantly, basically. And part of that thing that it's doing is evil. So is it justice? Yes. But there's also mercy, which I think is above justice. This is what, yeah. So is it justice? Yes. It's justice insofar as people cry out for other people to be tortured, and there's really shitty stuff that happens in this world which causes people to cry out for other people to be tortured.
Even I can't see live chat. Go to Discord.
All right. Just my ending question to you, and I'll just stop because I know Stephen's really interested, and so's by here. My ending question would be, in your worldview of justice, and hell would be part of justice, right? A punishment, or that. In your worldview of justice, do you think that restorative justice might be better than retribution?
Oh, absolutely. Okay. I believe in mercy and compassion. I believe in saving those who are in hell, no matter what they did.
I'll leave the floor.
And then we move on to Vila. Not Vile, Vila.
Hi. So I wanted to skip back because first thing I thought when I heard you talking earlier was instantly, this guy has copied his ideas from DID, but from someone that has a extremely bad misunderstanding of the condition.
Yeah.
So, and you use it in your reference point. So I wanted to know, like, why and what do you actually know about the condition?
I don't know. I guess I don't know that much about the condition. Just I guess a kind of shallow understanding. But the idea that you can have multiple personalities with an overarching
identities.
Right. Multiple identities. Yeah. Within an overarching something that I would call a soul or a spirit or something like that is a parable or an analogy to what I think is more or less going on.
But it's a very flawed analogy because DID isn't something you're born with. Mm-hmm. It is something that happens to you when you are broken.
Right. Okay.
And yes, people, like, just as an analogy, it was really bad to use, and please don't talk about it if you don't know. The fact that you used ego instead of identity shows you have no knowledge of it.
Okay.
They're not egos. They're not personalities. They are a identity. They are genuine people.
And can you describe do you have DID?
No, I don't.
Okay. Can you describe what those words mean to me? The distinction between them?
personalities are something that you can create. To say that their personalities mean that that person has just like made them up.
Mm-hmm.
Their individual identities, each of them has their own life story. They remember being born, they remember childhood,
Mm-hmm.
they remember everything. They have their own internal world. So while yes, DID can be used as an analogy for a whole simulation theory, it's a really bad analogy because of the fact that you only get it through extremely traumatic events as a young child.
Mm-hmm.
And to use someone's traumatic mental health condition for religious crap is really just poor taste.
Yeah, forgive me for that. Forgive me for my ignorance. I beg you. But yeah, I guess what is the trauma there then that God is experiencing? It may have been a previous hell or something like that. It could be that what's going on.
No, straight up trigger warning. The trauma that you get is like systematic abuse, physical or sexual, as a child.
Okay. As a child. Okay.
It's nothing hippy dippy to do with like your theories about the world.
Okay, well, my theory about the world encompasses everything, so I'm going to have to find a way to fit what you're telling me into my theory about the world.
While you're at it, you could fit another mental. I'm just confused. Does he have to fit all mental issues or just DID?
I guess all.
We'll use Holy's question as a divergence then to Crafty afterwards. So if you want to do that, then we'll bounce to Crafty. And after Crafty, Stephen, before Stephen has a fit attack, there's 9 people. So we'll come back, Vila. We'll come back.
Oh, I just wanted to ask how, with his imagining into being stuff he said earlier,
yeah,
then how is it everything else doesn't work? Like there are people that why is there suffering and strife if we can just imagine everything into being? Surely if I could just get rid of my brain tumors by imagining it, I would have done that ages ago.
Right, but we are ignorant of our identity as God. And even if you have gnosis, you still aren't there yet, you know. You haven't. Knowing something and walking it are 2 different things.
So then how do we as all individual people imagine our world into being? You said that it is our world that we create, everything we have in front of
through our action. But I mean, I don't really understand the question. We can imagine. We're good at imagining other worlds.
Don't overtalk each other. Don't overtalk each other. Let Vila clarify her point, and then the third issue.
Yeah, go ahead.
So you haven't even actually solidified your theory about the world. You're trying to shove circles through square pieces. Yeah. You're just trying to mash everything together and see if shit sticks.
Right.
Forgive the swearing. That's just like the only way I know the saying. But that's not how those things are meant to work.
How which things are meant to work?
An idea of the world.
Okay. Yeah, I have a long way to go on working this stuff out. But I would say a few things. I'm not sure if this is exactly addressing what you're saying, but I would say that we are good at people nowadays are good at imagining other worlds. And I think that those are sort of echoes of other worlds that really exist and we can bring into existence through belief in them. And also we manifest our world through our will, through our action. So when you say how can we be torturing ourselves like this? Well, we are because people are choosing bad actions. People are choosing bad will.
Okay, on that we will bounce to Crafty, and in the middle, in the Nerthulas, I do want to ask a question if it's possible. Okay. Seeing as you don't have a YouTube channel, people are asking for the ability to talk to you and see your opinion and stuff like that. Would you mind if I shared your Discord link in the live chat if people would like to join your Discord?
Sure. Yeah, if you want to share the Harmony over Discord server, yeah, absolutely.
No, that's fine. Okay, so Jupit and all the other people asking to be able to follow Nerthulas. He's mainly in Discord. I will post his Discord link in the main chat. On that, Crafty, the floor is yours.
Thank you. I'll try to remain calm. Right. So, just so you understand where I'm coming from, I have a master's in sociology, and in my first year in university, I did do psychology. So this is ticking a lot of red flags for me.
Okay.
So my question is, you said you did LSD, which brought on this state of awareness. You're 23. You said, did you?
Yeah. Well, it actually.
So how?
I thought it was ignorance first, and then I've been working it out. But it did bring on solipsism, yeah. And then I kind of.
How long ago? Well, how long ago did you do LSD?
Let me see. It was June 25th, 26th, 27th. Or the last time I did June 26th. June 26th. That's the first and last time.
Of this year, yeah?
Yeah, of this year.
Okay. When you started having these delusions, because I'm not even going to be polite about it. These are serious, worrying delusions.
Yeah, sure.
Did you ever seek psychological help?
Oh, absolutely. I actually was hospitalized. I jumped out of a moving car.
Okay.
And I went to a hospital, emergency room hospital, and then I was taken to a psychiatric intensive care unit for 8 days. And then more recently, I went to a partial hospitalization program, which I was at for 10 days.
Okay, because it really.
And I'm on lithium. My diagnosis right now is bipolar 1. So
yeah,
I'm on.
I have bipolar 2. So.
Okay. So I was on. They put me on antipsychotics and lithium.
Right, because as I said, this initially when you started talking and you said I am God, I laughed. I'm going to be honest.
Yeah.
And as you continued, I got more and more scared.
Mm-hmm.
Not just for you, but for anyone that was listening. And I want to explain that we as humans are not designed to take the responsibility of all things that are evil onto ourselves.
Oh, it's
we're
rough,
not designed
for sure. For sure, yeah.
It's dangerous. I have friends who have taken psychedelics who have ended up for life in psychiatric hospitals. So this is not something that I take lightly, and I'm trying to be respectful here. You are taking credit for all of the world's ills. Everything wrong with the world, you are taking responsibility for. You are not responsible for it. I can tell you that now. You are not responsible. Please, for your own health, stop. Stop taking credit for the evil of other people. You're not responsible. And it worries me. It scares me. It really does. Because you'll end up either going to hurt yourself or hurt someone else. Because when people listen to you and you are so in depth in what you believe, you're so sure of what you believe, which actually you don't believe anything. That's what the conversation here today has shown me. You don't actually believe anything because you believe it all. There is an old saying, if you stand for nothing, you'll fall for anything. And that you are the classic falling for everything. And it's scary because these serious delusions, because one of my best friends growing up, I want to explain this to you, how serious this can get. One of my best friends believed after taking psychedelics that they remembered a previous life.
Yeah.
Within 2 months, they were trying to die in the manner that they died in that previous life. And this is the path you're going down. So I would ask you to seriously talk to your doctors, keep them informed of, and write everything down. Write everything down of what you're feeling that day. Stop doing research because it seems to me that you are cherry picking contradictory ideology. That means you're a sponge. And what you do is as you come across a new idea, you say, this must be true. You don't have the facility to actually think critically.
Yeah. Okay.
And that scares me because you will fall for anything and you will end up getting hurt and you will end up hurting other people. And that's what I'm worried about. That's why I didn't really want to come on, because I didn't want to lose my cool, because I have history with this.
If I can actually say,
my problem,
Stephen will back me up on this. You can, knowing Crafty, you can actually hear it in the voice. That woman's generally deadly serious about her concerns. She's not bullshitting you or anything like that. You can.
Oh, I believe it. I believe it.
Do you mind me asking? Are you still under the care of these mental health
I am
care
actually. I
providers?
saw my psychiatrist on a Zoom appointment this morning at 9:20 my time.
Okay, that's good. That's
Yeah,
good.
he's upping my lithium dose, which I'm going to collect probably later today. I did take an antipsychotic earlier today because I was very manic this morning because I ran out of lithium recently.
Right.
But
See, I need to explain this.
Yeah.
Crafty, go on ahead.
Explain this because the way in which you're coming across is very flippant. With what you're saying, you're very flippant. Oh, yeah, everything is true. Everything is true. You're very flippant. If you were on severe lithium, then that explains it. So for anyone under the illusion that he's just, you know, ignoring what we're saying or not taking this seriously, if you are under heavy antipsychotics, that is the reason why he's being so calm and being so monotone about this. So that actually answers a lot of my questions. But my problem,
big difference
my
between,
worry is,
if I can ask, the first time we talked, Nerthulas, were you going to the therapist and on medication?
Oh yeah, or wait, the first time we talked? No, wait, the first time.
The first time we talked, you were a completely different person and very rude and ignorant and screamed at me.
Yeah.
What day was this?
Oh, I have no idea what day it is.
This was after I had gone to my involuntary commitment, but before I had gone to partial hospitalization.
yeah. But just to say, and I'll finish on this. You are at serious risk of indoctrination. You are what cults thrive on. You seriously need to be keeping up with your doctors and protect yourself. Because right now I am terrified for you.
My biggest goal is to not hurt myself or other people. And the reason that I'm accepting things so easily is because I feel like I have to have humility, because before I had arrogance before MathPig.
But hold on.
Okay.
You're accepting things, not your responsibility, and that is dangerous, because the human condition, we are not designed to accept guilt for every little thing. That's what I worry about.
Nerthulas?
You are blaming yourself for things that you cannot be held responsible for, like giving the world cancer. That's dangerous. For you, that's dangerous. And for everyone else that's listening, it's also dangerous, because if you can create cancer, surely you can cure cancer. That's the inevitable path. So just be very, very careful about what you take onto yourself. So I'll leave it at that.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, like, I brought up the simulation theory earlier. This is something that I have a good friend of mine. He's a co-worker, and there's a group of us that are all kind of like that are moving in pretty soon. And he's one of them. He like talks about it like quite a lot. So I actually kind of like know a lot about the simulation theory. You had said that like you're kind of like in charge of the simulation theory or something along those lines. Do you want to just like quickly recap, just so I'm not kind of quoting you out of context?
Well, the demiurge was created the simulation, or is running the simulation, and it's my job, from my perspective, to sort of atone for that.
Well, yeah, but you see, like that's not what the simulation theory is. The simulation theory is that like there's like basically like a hyper super advanced race of beings that are running the simulation theory, and that we're just essentially sims that like we're not actually in control, that there's something else that's like guiding or that is controlling us. So if that was the case, you wouldn't actually be responsible for anything. It would be the people who are running the simulation. So even if you were to ascribe to the simulation theory, it's like you're still wrong in your like opinion on what you are and aren't running.
Okay. Yeah. I don't know. I feel like since I'm more awake, or I know that it's going on, I have bigger responsibilities, because I know that everybody is one, and what that means is that we all need to treat each other like we would treat ourselves. That's the golden rule thing. But I struggle to do that most fully. You know, I feel like I shouldn't even have a house. Like I shouldn't even have clothes on my back because there are people who don't have that. As far as the simulation theory, I think it's compatible with what I'm talking about. You can just identify the demiurge with this race of hyper advanced creatures, but we still perceive ourselves as existing, and I still experience myself as having free will, and I guess you do as well, which is why I feel like I still have responsibility because I have free will.
Okay, well, I don't think that we have free will, but that's like it's somewhat of a separate kind of conversation.
Okay.
But I mean, so do you actually accept the simulation theory? Do you think that we're living in a simulation?
I think, yeah, that there's a level of reality that's higher than this. Yeah.
Okay. How can you say that you accept the simulation theory and then make the claim that you have free will? Because like that's kind of impossible. Because if there's somebody who's like running the simulation, who's controlling everything that you do, say, and think, then like how can you have free will? Because it would just be somebody else giving it to you. It's literally the opposite of free will.
Maybe it's just an illusion, but I perceive myself to have free will at least. Maybe if I was more in tune with the universe or whatever, I might not, not my free will thing might dissolve, and I might just dissolve into action. That's sort of the Taoist principle, and that's sort of where I'd like to get to. But right now, I feel like, even if free will is an illusion, it's an illusion. The whole world is an illusion, so it's as real as anything else.
Yeah, but that's only if the world is an illusion, though. But it's like it's kind of not, because you had said as well that like that you're not just like the brain behind your eyes, that you're also the keyboard in front of you, the monitor in front of you, that you're also me for some weird particular reason. But you're not, though. You're you and I'm me. You're not me and I'm not you.
Yeah, but I think it's just because we don't remember.
Don't remember what?
Don't remember being one another.
But we're not one another, though. Like I don't like. I just guess that like I just don't see like where you're coming from or where you're getting this from. Like we are all our own beings. That like, I mean, if you want to trace it back like as far back as it actually goes, a star at some point in the past was gracious enough to die for us. So fuck Jesus, we can thank a star for dying for our sins. But the point is that we are all from stardust, and like over a process of evolution and a massive period of time, here we are today. So like I just don't get like help me to kind of understand, I guess, because I just don't see where you're kind of coming from, where you can claim that you are me, or that there was a point in time where you were me.
Yeah, because that's the materialist perspective, right? But I'm an idealist. I guess I'm a Platonist. I believe that even if this was the true physical reality, the material reality, I think there's a world above the material reality, which is the world of the Platonic world that is talked about in Platonic philosophy. So even if this is the highest level of existence, even if we aren't in a simulation, or rather, even if we are in a simulation, that simulation is going to have levels above it, and at the highest level is the Platonic world, and there may be Platonic worlds even above Platonic worlds. There may be an infinity of Platonic worlds. Does that bring light at all to what my perspective is? The world of forms.
No, I'm kind of sorry. I kind of like. I guess I wanted to say yes, like at some point, but just no.
Okay.
Like even if I was to accept everything that you've said, I don't.
If there is substance, there is one substance in this universe, and everything is just a distinction within that substance, right?
I mean, that's a pretty fucking massive if. So like, Yeah, and that's something that you would have to demonstrate, which I don't even know how you would even attempt
So
to do
how
that
do you think
before I
substance
even
works? Do you think
Huh?
that the thing? How do you think substance works? Do you think that the universe is like one substance, one thing?
No.
Okay, what do you think? How do you think it works?
How do I think the universe works?
Yeah,
I
matter.
have absolutely no fucking idea.
Okay.
But I
Like,
know that there are people who have studied this and who, like, this is their job, this is their profession, this is what they have dedicated their lives to trying to figure out.
right.
And I trust them and the scientific process so that they can tell us how this stuff works. In the same way as Crafty had said that she has a background in sociology, I have 2 psychology degrees. So the whole thing about the id, ego, and super ego that you were talking about during the actual main thing,
Right.
like, who fucking boy, you were wrong on literally everything that you said. But anyway,
Stephen,
and,
after that,
Sigmund-
ask do we round up? I'm with Fabio. I know is
No problem.
biting at the bit too, and then we'll move to an
And,
open. We'll give Geo and Kendon a go, and we'll move to open because I know it's. I don't want to seem like we're all attacking the man, you know.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I mean, like Sigmund Freud, where he wasn't exactly the best character in history. Not the man's spinning in his fucking grave right now. Sorry, we'll move on to the next guy.
Fabio.
Or Gal, sorry.
I have a few questions.
Geo, right? We'll let Geo go. Yeah.
All right. Yeah. First of all, hello. I don't know who you are. And,
Yeah.
I just met you and all. So, what is the claim? Are you claiming that you're some kind of supreme being or God or whatever? I mean, I don't kind of get it.
I think there are levels of God, basically. But
no. That's not the question. What's your claim?
My claim is that everything is one thing.
All right. Okay. Everything is one thing. All right. How did you figure that out?
LSD.
All right. That's not a mechanism to figure anything out.
Have you done psychedelics before?
Sure have.
Okay. From my perspective, it is a mechanism to figure things out.
Well, I'm telling you, it's not.
I don't know what to say. I think we've reached...
Yeah, because it's not, dude. That's not a mechanism that proves anything. It just proves that you took LSD. That's all it proves.
Yeah.
I don't think, right. Have you a different question that we can have
all right. Yeah. Well, I actually have another question. I'd like to know your claim. What makes your claim what separates your claim from any of the other God claims that other religions or people have made in the past or in the present?
I would say the separation is that those claims were made by people who were saying that basically there is a God that's separate from us, or there's only one God, or only I'm the prophet of God. My perspective is that everyone is God.
And how did you figure that out?
Just through
LSD?
Yeah.
LSD. Okay.
And
well, that's not a mechanism. So you're kind of in. You're in a hole. You know, when you find yourself in a hole, it's best to just stop digging.
I prioritize sort of direct experience. I don't see necessarily a reason.
I'm done.
Okay.
I'm done.
Okay.
Thank you, Geo.
But can I say something?
Oh, you can obviously retort, and then we'll give Kendon, and then we'll move on to Fabio.
What science is based on is observation, right? But from my perspective, there's no reason to exclude this class of experiences that comes from psychedelic drugs. I don't think there's any reason to put our experience off psychedelic drugs above our experience on psychedelic drugs. It's all experience, you know? So I don't buy that just because it was a drug, it's not a good way of learning about the world. Like, scientists observe the world. Now, I think this way of Socratic investigation is a good way as well. And I'm interested in engaging with it. And that's part of why I'm here. But I don't see any reason to exclude that class of direct experience.
Okay. Geo. Oh, thank you for coming, man. Hit me up on Discord. I have that thing I want to ask you about.
Yeah, all right. Thanks, MathPig. And I don't mean to be really, hard on you or anything. It's just that these questions are important. You know, if you're just saying, if you just think these things, that then we can ignore them. If these are things you're thinking, then
I was flat
why
out
should we
rude to
even?
them.
There's not. You still didn't explain. You didn't answer the questions. Any of the questions I asked you. You just deferred to LSD.
Okay.
And that's not an answer. But thanks, MathPig. All right.
Always
Everybody
Geo.
else on the panel.
Always Geo. Kendon, I know you only jumped in about halfway through, but have you anything you would like to ask Nerthulas? And then I think Fabio wants to say something. And then we're definitely opening the open panel if Nerthulas is still open. I'm going to give the floor to him to ask anybody here questions or make statements or whatever he would like to do. The floor's going to be his after this. After Fabio. So Kendon, go on ahead.
I've only got a couple of questions. I think all the major questions have been asked by everyone else, so I'm just going to, pick up on details. You say that you're the reincarnation of Judas Iscariot.
I strongly suspect, yeah.
And how have you come to this conclusion?
Because when an angel spoke with me, he said that I betrayed God.
There are many people in history who have betrayed God. If you take it on the metaphysical level, what makes you think that you're Judas Iscariot?
That's a good point. I don't know. I think that maybe I'm everybody who betrayed God, but Judas Iscariot is included in that. I don't know. It was just a feeling that I had. Maybe it's not true.
Right. Okay. Which begs the next question. You had a feeling that you're Judas Iscariot. So of all the people who've betrayed God in history, that's the one you leapt on. Why Judas Iscariot? That sounds like an element of personal choice and taste. So I'm curious.
Because I thought it was Jesus who was speaking to me, basically. And
okay. You said it was an angel who spoke to you.
What?
So the question then becomes, what makes you think it was an angel? Is it angel or Jesus? Because those aren't the same thing.
Oh, because it was. Well, I don't know about that, because I saw a great cube or reality folding into a cube, which I later discovered is identical basically to the cube of Metatron.
You definitely need to talk to Richard.
Yeah, okay. Right. So I saw the cube of Metatron, or my reality folding itself into the cube of Metatron. And I think Metatron may also be Jesus, but I thought it was God at the time. And God said that I betrayed him. So that's why I think I'm Judas Iscariot.
Nerthulas, you haven't answered my question.
Oh,
you
I'm
said
sorry.
earlier that an angel spoke to you, and then you said it was Jesus speaking to you.
Right. At first I thought it was God speaking to me, but I was thinking Jesus is also God. But it was later on that I learned that it was an angel, because this cube, other people have seen as well, and they call it Metatron. And I saw it's too much of a coincidence that this thing that I saw has been seen by other people and has a name.
Is it not possible that they've all read the same source material and it's half remembered?
Yeah, it's also possible that this is some sort of an archetypal psychedelic experience which people have had before and have given a name to, but I don't see any reason why not to use that name.
So we've gone from Freudian psychoanalysis to Jungian psychoanalysis.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Two slots open. I've sent the link to a few people. It's also posted in the private chat. Kendon, ask another question or two. I do apologize. I feel like we've been going on for a while.
Jungian psychoanalysis is much, I think, closer to what I'm dealing with, for sure.
Okay. Two more questions to on a MathPig's suggestion. You claim that you're using psychoanalysis to explain your position. Psychoanalysis is a dead religion.
Yeah, sure.
It's completely useless. It's barely tenable. So the question becomes, what makes you think it's suitable for explaining your experiences?
I can't even remember how I got onto the psychoanalysis train. I guess because I can't even remember. I'm sorry. Maybe.
Okay, fair enough. If you can't remember, that's fine. I'll take that answer. But here's my last question then.
Okay.
You say that taking psychedelic substances is a way of perceiving the world and understanding how the world works, and that it's as good as the Socratic method or scientific method or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
How do you know that the psychedelic substances aren't just pickling your brain, making your brain have random mind farts?
Well, that's what everybody else's perspective is. But my what I say to this is, why prefer the regular reality over the reality experience through psychedelic? Well, how do you know that your brain isn't being pickled and that psychedelics doesn't open your brain?
No, this is the big problem, because now there's no way to discern any kind of objective truth now. Because you can't say that your brain hasn't been pickled by psychedelics.
Yeah.
I can't say that
I
my
can
brain.
only
I'm
say,
not brain.
Kendon,
It's the brain in the jar analogy.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Nurse, let him finish. Let him finish,
Okay.
and then
Okay,
you
go
address the point, and then we're definitely moving
Okay.
to Fabio. I swear to fuck, Fabio, we're coming to you now because I know what time it is there.
So who's speaking? Is it
You are. You finish your point, Kendon. Ask your point.
Okay.
Finish your statement, and the Thurles will address it. And then Fabio.
If your quest is for truth,
Mm-hmm.
which is a fine and noble quest, you've just invalidated any means by which anybody could discern truth. Because I don't know if my brain's being pickled. You don't know if your brain's being pickled. Therefore, we don't know anything. We don't know how to perceive anything. We can't be certain of any of our experiences or responses. So your entire quest becomes futile.
Maybe
Surely.
so, but here's what I would say to that. I would say that it's why I prefer the answers offered by psychedelics, or the reality perceived through psychedelics, is because it's a question of intensity. It's a question of intensity of experience. So when I did this stuff, it felt like I said it felt like waking up times a million. So my answer to this is that I'm going to go with the experience that felt more real to me, that felt more intensely real. So when I did this, I felt like I was waking up from a dream. I felt like material existence or waking existence with off psychedelics was essentially dreamlike. And ultimately, all we have is our experience, right? So I have to go with the experience that's higher intensity, because it's the same way of it's the same reason we say our dreams are not really real. I mean, they're real insofar as we experience them. We do go into dream states, but we don't consider them real because waking reality has a greater intensity, which convinces us that dreaming is not the true reality. Psychedelics is like that, I'd say.
Right. Okay.
I'm
fair
so
enough.
sorry
I will
that you're
have to
not. You're
take that
just going
answer
to
because
have.
I'm not allowed to ask another question. MathPig,
Yeah,
you're silent. You're on mute.
Oh, for fuck's sake. There we go. Better now.
Yeah. So
I do
come up with another
apologize
question.
that you will have to follow a question with a question. I'm going to cut you off and I'm going to be an asshole. I do apologize, Kendon. We'll move it to
That's
an
fine.
open panel after this. But Fabio is definitely. I'm giving this man the floor, and then the Thurles. So Fabio, the floor is yours. You know you have some things to say.
Yeah, I'm not sure if you're gonna like it, but fuck it. Because I mean, I listened to the stream, right, and I thought to myself, oh, okay, that's an interesting cat. And then I listened a little bit more, and it became a little bit weirder. And then I started listening to the after party. And this is where I got really nervous. Then Crafty speak, and now I'm definitely fucked. Because I had a list of stuff, to ask you, Nerthulas. It's over here, But you know what? I mean, there was some interesting things, like the fact that you took LSD on June 26th. It's my birthday, so that would explain a lot of things.
It's your fault.
Yeah.
But you know what? Fuck it. I'm not gonna do that. And the reason is because you actually remind me of a dude which was around here some time ago, and maybe somebody will remember that. And his name was EMK. And I'm honestly in a big predicament here, because regardless of what I would like to ask you, what I really want to tell you is that I would love to tell you the same thing that I told EMK at the time.
Okay.
I think, and I'm not a therapist, Craft is. I mean, my line of work is totally different. I think you are in a really dire situation here. And I am not super positive that this thing is actually helping you.
Right. Okay.
So what I would love to tell you, and you can do it or not, it doesn't matter, is grab your modem, pull it out of the wall, and unplug it.
No internet?
Yeah.
Okay.
Think to yourself. Think about your health. You realize you have some, I would call issues. I don't want to be patronizing all the stuff. I'm just lacking the word, just for lack of a better word. But you have some kind of a situation that you're aware of. You're working on it. So I mean, good for you. I'm rooting for you. But I don't feel, maybe I'm super wrong, I don't feel that you are in the best position ever, given your situation right now, to engage in this kind of conversation. I feel like you are cartwheeling on yourself. You know what I mean? You just running in circles, and I really don't know if it's really, really, really good for you.
It is very stressful for me, I'd say. I'm going to the ranch. My uncle has a ranch. I'm going there on Thursday just to spend some time just sort of, detoxing from the internet and getting back to nature. I will take your advice, and I will take a break from the internet.
Yeah. And I mean, I would really love to talk to you when you are in a better place.
Yeah.
You get what I mean?
Yeah.
And maybe, just maybe, when you're a little bit of yourself, it might be the case that you turn out to be a total cunt, and we probably have a really, really, really angry conversation. I wish that would happen, because right now I don't feel there is a complete person talking to
It's just sort of pliant with, because I'm confused about what to believe. I'm confused about how humble I should be, and what is humility, and versus trusting my own experience versus submitting to other people's analysis of me.
I mean, dude, you're all over the fucking place.
Yeah. That's actually my.
Fefe just pointed out that you've never had a heroic dose of psychedelic, Fabio. So
solipsism is true, and then invoke other people acting as agents. It really makes no sense at all. And I understand it's just a big confusion. Yeah. But you're really all over the place, and I don't think this is helping you. And again, hashtag I'm not a therapist. Fuck me, I'm not a therapist. I probably need a therapist, but I'm not a therapist. So, yeah, I mean, be well, man. Just try to be well.
Yeah, thanks so much. I really appreciate you saying that, and I will try.
Okay. That's good enough for me.
Yeah, I think we've sort of covered everything. Jeff has popped in.
It's what you're saying is really interesting. You're muted. That's why it's really interesting. No. Fuck you, because
See, this is where I do this, and then I do this, and fuck you, because I'm in charge. And
Fabio in the abyss.
Jeff, you've jumped in at the end. I will give you a couple of minutes, and then what I think we're gonna do is we've got to that point now where Nerthulas will be able to have the floor. Jeff, if you can get one fucking question, that's it, because I promised it to him, and you've slipped in the back door at the end. You dirty boy. So you'll get one question with no retort, and Nerthulas, I will hand the floor to you.
That's that slip into the back door. That's how I normally roll. I came in late on this. I guess the question I had, and I apologize to anybody that's still watching and has been watching from the beginning if it's a repeat. But
if you ask the same question, I'm just going to kick you and move to North. So that's just what's
okay, that's fair. How does the guest evaluate? Because it sounds like there's been some psychedelic experiences that are either more rewarding or somehow kind of a transcendent experience. But how would say the experiences of someone who claimed to experience something similar simply by being sick from a fever dream? How would you rate that in terms of corresponding to reality or corresponding to some kind of heightened understanding of reality? Where would you factor in experiences or people who are capable of lucid dreaming?
Yeah. I mean, ultimately, if I think I'm following intensity of experience. So it may be that from a shamanic perspective, altered states of consciousness lead to greater understanding and greater truth. So there's no reason that a fever dream couldn't be analogous to a psychedelic experience. And I think a lot of shamanic traditions deal with altered states of consciousness that are not triggered by psychedelics, but are triggered by things like having a fever dream, you know? So I that would be my answer, is that I would accept that basically as a higher reality.
Okay. All right. That seems okay. So, but do you think that, I mean, I myself have not, I've never really dabbled much with psychedelics, but I've had friends that really enjoyed it. But they
Jeff,
never,
as you pointed out, you finished out late. I want to give Neffy charge. I want to put Neffy in charge because I feel like we've been lambasting him for a while. So.
Okay. I can stop right there.
Oh no, you don't have to stop. I'm not that fucking ignorant. You can finish.
Okay. I'm just saying, for most of them, the experiences that they had were, they never experienced, I think, what you may have experienced. They everything that they experienced after things kind of adjusted and came back to normal, they just kind of looked at it as a novelty. It was a temporary state. It was really no different than
a lot of people who. I'm sorry to interrupt you.
No, go ahead.
That's what happens to a lot of people who do take psychedelics, and they eventually, you know, they leave it behind. They leave that perspective behind. But I feel like that it's converged for me, you know. I feel like I can't leave it behind because it's so powerful. But yeah, that happens even with, it's not exclusive to people who have fever dreams. There are people who have psychedelics and they have a revelation or something like that, or a delusion, you might say, and then they get better, they leave it behind. But that's not happening to me right now.
Yeah, in that case, I would second like what Fabio had said. Yeah. Just to be on the safe side, because I was raised in a couple of different churches, and I've heard people say similar things with sort of some of the churches that I was involved with were holy roller kind of churches. Mm-hmm. They would do revival ministries and stuff, and every once in a while, someone would kind of get into it, have an experience, and then not be able to let go to the point where they would sort of start to experience a little bit of a social decline. Yeah. Being very generous, it just sort of kind of took over everything about them, and unfortunately, in that particular group, they were sort of shunned for becoming some kind of a heretic or something like that. When actually they probably should have been encouraged to seek some mental care. So okay. Not to sound patronizing or anything, I just kind of second that from Fabio.
Yeah, and I am, good. I've been through the ringer, I've been through the system, but I will try. I am trying to treat myself, basically.
Yeah.
Right. Thank you.
Oh, if I could what? Go on. Fuck, what? If I could what? Yes.
No, I just said thank you. I'll mute myself.
Yeah, I'm going to hand the floor to Nerthulas, and if you have anything you want to say about tonight's discussion, the after party, it probably will continue with, I don't know who's going to hang about. We'll move to the Patreon channel for any of the members of the Patreons. You know where that is. But Nerthulas, I want to hand the floor to you and give you as much time as you want, except don't talk for an hour.
I feel that I am seeking the truth, and that's why I'm so pliant here, is because I forget who said earlier, but when I was talking about intensity of experience and how do we know if this is better for experiencing truth, or whether psychedelics are better for experiencing truth, I don't know. I don't know, but I'm following intensity of experience here. But that's why I'm trying to get out here and subject my beliefs to, or whatever I have, subject my beliefs to critique here. Because I want the truth, and the truth doesn't fear examination. It brings me a lot of anxiety, because I have a lot of anxiety about about hell, about realizing the truth, about being critiqued, about having my truth critiqued. But I'm trying to fully subject my experience to critique in so far, or for the purpose of clarification of reality. That's what my goal is, and that's why I'm here, really. And so I want to say thank you for critiquing me. If this is it, and I'm wrong, and psychedelics is, just garbage which screws with your brain, and this is the better reality, then I want to figure that out. And then I want to find that out, and I want to heal. If psychedelics is the path to just a greater reality than this is just a shadow of, then I want to share that with other people. Really, I don't have any questions for you. I just want to thank everybody for their sincerity here. And I want to thank everybody for their time, and maybe I'll come back later, but I don't have a lot of questions for people. I don't have any questions for people, I should say.
Well, I want to,
and maybe I will in the future.
I want to thank you for coming, man. I think it was a productive conversation. As I say, it's not going to end. If you want to hang about and you still feel like this, it's going to move to a Patreon channel where there's very few people watching. We can be a wee bit more honest. Sometimes Stephen takes his top off. Things happen on the Patreon channel. We get excitable, But I really do think that, pardon?
I'd love to come back sometime. Maybe I'll become a Patreon. But yeah, I think maybe not today, but sometime. I really like you guys a lot. I thank you for your sincerity with me. I thank you for your compassion for me. If I am deluded, and I may well be, then I need help. And I this is the kind of help I need, because I've been through inpatient. I've been on antipsychotics, and I still have this perspective. So I need this more than.
Would you mind if I ask you one question?
Yeah, go ahead.
Before it all shuts, is that all right, MathPig?
Oh, go on ahead. I'm so nice that yeah, go on ahead.
Okay, I haven't done psychedelics, but the majority of my exes have. I've had exes that have grown mushrooms. One of my ex has done basically every drug except crack and smack. So I know a lot about it through them and what they've talked about. And from what you literally just said in the last 5 minutes, it seems like you said people take acid, they get high, they have that blissful experience, they come down and they move on. And you said you're not willing to let go.
Oh, it wasn't blissful. It was extremely, extremely painful.
So your acid trip was extremely negative.
Oh yeah. Well, there were different, like I said, there was different parts to it, but the most intense part was extremely agonizing, I'd say. But go ahead.
Okay. You said that you're not willing to let go of that.
It's impossible for me, because it was a greater intensity of experience. I can't deny it, because this feels like a dream compared to what I woke up to.
And that's a worrying aspect of addiction.
Okay.
And this is why I wanted to say something. The fact that you found the drugs better than the harsh reality of existence better is the exact reason why addicts take drugs and get high. And I'm worried now, because you said that you're not willing to let go of the high, don't want to let go, and you want to escape this reality.
Yeah.
That's something you need to talk to your therapist about, because that leaves you open to potential addiction. And while there are certain drugs that you can get physically addicted to, as in your body goes into withdrawals if you stop taking, you can get addicted to other drugs, as in you crave the escape that they give you.
Yeah. Okay.
And it seems like, I don't know, maybe you've had some sort of Christianic religious indoctrination when you were younger. The fact that
I don't remember much of it. I left it at a very young age, but yeah, there was some, I guess, but I don't. Yeah.
They stay in the back of your head, and the fact that they came out in your subconscious moment when you're taking a hallucinogenic is probably why these are repressed things, and they've come out, and that's why it was bad. Most people that have had trauma should not take hallucinogens, because it can cause.
From my perspective, there are no if God is real, there are no coincidences, right? So
what's that noise? Tick tick tick.
No idea. Yeah.
If God is real, there are no coincidences, which means that coincidences are actually part of God's plan. So me having a religious upbringing was just part of me coming to this or whatever. So my beliefs are fully converged in that way. There's no escape from that, from saying, oh, it's a reaction to religious trauma, because my belief system incorporates that, right? But
I'm trying to put aside the religious aspect, okay? Because it's easy for you to just say everything fits into my religious thing, so it's okay.
Yeah, we'll knock it
That's
down. We'll
what all
keep...
religions do. Like, they all find an excuse.
Right,
what I'm saying is, religious or not, belief or not, you went through it. It is affecting you.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't matter whether it's meant to be or not. I don't like that mindset, because that means I was born to suffer with the stuff I've been through. I find it an extremely privileged thing that people haven't gone through anything negative, say.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so that's why I'm not going to go that far into it, because I don't want to get angry at you. Okay. I'm trying to be very nice here, because you seem nice, you seem really sweet, and I like that other lady said, I'm worried about you now, because some of the things that you said is like, wow, that you could be so seriously taken advantage of, and you can go down such a dark route. You're saying that you feel responsibility for people with conditions. Okay, I was born all crippleified, I've got tumours and shit. If you are God, I don't blame you. But you're putting yourself in a position where you're taking the blame for everything. People are driven to suicide with survivor's guilt that they lived and their friend died in a car crash. That's one person. How many millions, billions of people are in the world, and you're willing to take on that survivor's guilt?
So, well, as I say, well, before we get down that, Nerthulas, thank you very much for coming. I really do appreciate you coming. I appreciate the chat. I hope that you've taken some points on board from everybody.
Yeah.
And honest to God, man, jumping into the den of lions, not to call out and Christianity, but I really do appreciate you coming on and doing this. I know it's not out of your comfort zone. So on that, the conversation whether Nerthulas will hang about or not, I know we've been lambasting him for quite a while, will continue on the Patreon channel. The link's in there if anyone wants to do it. Thanks to everybody for coming. It has been loads of fun. It has been a very good conversation.
I'd love to come back and sort and take more. Not of this critique. This critique, because I need it. This is the therapy that I need, and I think you guys have brought a lot to me that I can take away from and help myself, because there's that's all I can say.
Yeah, think for yourself, man. That's the tagline of the channel, is think for yourself, and make sure that everything, just look after yourself. Think for yourself. Find yourself. You're only 23, for fuck's sake. You've loads of time left. Look at Fabio. Look at fucking Gregory. You've fucking loads of time left.
Like, I'm only 30 and I'm still discovering myself, man. You've got plenty of time. You don't need to have it all figured out this early.
Yeah, okay.
Yep, make sure you're safe, make sure you're healthy, make sure you've got friends around you that you can go and whinge and bitch and vent to, and they'll call you an asshole when you need to be called out an asshole. Find some good friends.
Stay away from people asking for money for religious shit. Good way to tell it to cold.
That too.
Has anybody anything they'd like to shout about, apart from don't put money in the collection plate?
I do. If I have. So this is not really a question or anything like that. This is just a point. I relate to the desire, how do I say it? I relate to sort of the responsibility that, I hope this is appropriate, I'm just going to call you Nerth, that Nerth was describing earlier. I feel a sense of responsibility to know what's true. I know that my behavior affects the people around me, and I want to do what's best for as many people as possible. So I have an obligation to try to know to the best of my ability. In my experience, I took a different route because I get the overwhelming sense of responsibility. Like, there are so many social issues, so many issues that require a solution, whether it be cancer, starvation, whatever, and you feel like you have to have the answer for everything. But that's why I became, I guess you could call it, a skeptic, because at the end of the day, I realized that I can't do it. And I'm saying this in a metaphorical sense, but I'm not Jesus. I can't save everybody.
Yeah.
So what I can do is do the best that I can. Try to know to the best of my ability.
That's exactly.
And in that sense, yes. And in that sense, that's why I reserve judgment until I see sufficient reason to believe otherwise. That's why I've taken sort of a slightly different route than you have. And I say, you know what? I just don't know anything. And until I see good reason to know it, until I see good reason that convinces me, I'm just going to throw my hands up and say, I don't have a sociology degree. I don't have a psychology degree. I don't know anything about egos and ids and personalities. I have no idea. And I would love to learn, which is why I'm so happy that you came here and engaged with us. But I just say that to say I completely relate to that situation that you're in your search for truth. I just happen to take a different approach and say, you know what, it is a lot of responsibility, it is a lot of weight, but I can only do what I can do. So I'm going to do my best and say, you know what, I don't know until I know. And right now, I don't know.
Right.
So I would encourage that as an option, not telling you what to do, but just as an option, you know, that it's okay to not know and not have the answers to things. And that's all I have to say.
Perfect.
Okay. All right. I think I'm going to head off. I'd love to come back sometime.
The link will be open for a couple hours, man. We'll be chatting away if you decide to come back. It'll be on the Patreon's channel, members channel, a couple of people watching, nothing serious, you know. Don't come on naked, you know. But other than that, everything's pretty much unrestricted over there. So, yeah, thank you very much.
Mankinis are the exception.
The skeptic skeleton is that's sort of really close to the perspective I had, which actually was only increasing the guilt because I thought I did everything wrong and now I don't even have the power to fix it. I did everything wrong and there's no way I can fix it all, which is even worse than being able to fix it all and having done everything wrong. And that is really crushing. But
I hope you take away from the conversation.
I will try to help myself and to help other people, and I'll be back later. See you guys later.
All right, see you. Thanks for coming. Really appreciate it.
And on that, the guest is away. We've lost everybody. Well, we've lost the main guest, you know. Stephen's only here for sex appeal anyway. So, yeah, thank you, everybody.
I was just going to say, I took my top off in a one-on-one conversation, and I did that in confidence. I did not expect you to point that out.
I didn't point out that you took your bottoms off as well, you know, but that's a different.
That's what I was.
You see that now? You're just.
Oh no! Yeah, it's all gone off. So, yeah, thank you for everybody that has joined. We have three slots left. So, how many people is in backstage? Let me just check. We have got pee. So there is now 2 slots left. 2 slots left. People get in there quick. First 2 in will get it. And,
I was just gonna say, yeah, there's going to be 3, man, because I am up at like 7 o'clock in the morning for work, so I have to head off.
Stephen, thank you.
I did say I said I want.
You said you'd stay for a half an hour, so I'm not complaining.
And it's been a lot longer than that.
I'm not complaining. I'm not complaining. So yeah, thanks to everybody for coming. You've nowhere to go if you want to keep the crack going and all the rest of it. Blah 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 blah. Think for yourselves, people, and out we go. Bye.
Ciao.